Hi, I'm Mike Haduck, and today we're in Rome, Italy, and we're looking at the Colosseum. It's one of the 7 wonders of the world, and it was one of the biggest stadiums ever built. It was built around 72 AD, and Titus, who has an Arch of Titus that we've seen, was the guy who finished it. So it took 8 years to build it. In Pennsylvania, you need 8 years just to get the permits. It was built out of travertine stone, and it was built out of brick. And what happened is after the Roman Empire fell, around 500 AD, they started scavenging it, using it for a quarry. And then after that, what happened is they had a huge earthquake, and the whole thing caved in, and then they started using all that. They took all the good stone in the Rome Forum, everything it's got. So they shored it up after the earthquake, and because all the Christians were coming looking at it, it was a martyr site. The Pope declared it off limits, but they were going to originally tear it all down. So we're going to take a look at the stonework inside and the brickwork, and we're going to go from there. So we're looking at the columns made here, which is pretty impressive. And this is all travertine. And then you'll see these holes where they had metal or they had lead to hold some of these blocks on or whatever they wanted to do with it. And they took it out so they could reuse it. Here's some modern travertine. See how it's got holes in it? It's almost like coral. And I did a job in New Jersey with this stuff. They ordered it from Italy, and the winter out in New Jersey raised havoc on it. It lasted about 10 years, and then they ripped it up and put all flagstone. But they were the ones that bought it, they were the ones that wanted it. But this climate down here, you got some palm trees I seen around, so it's like a South Carolina weather pattern. Here's where they shored it up after the earthquake. And you could see how all those blocks up there loosened up. Let's take a closer look at them. See how they're all loosened up there? And all they did was fill it in so it won't be broken up as much anymore. And you can see where they put that 45 or 35, whatever. But you can see the rocks in the very, very top there, how they're hanging out. We're going to talk about that later. And here's going around the other side of the Colosseum. This whole part over here fell off during the earthquake, and they robbed it. So they scavenged everything. This is the other side of it. This part, they actually, there's where the stonework stopped, and then they redid it with brick in here to preserve it. I'm over here looking at what the inside part of the Colosseum looked like, and this is the other part that got knocked down from the earthquake. So you tell me something which makes common sense to me. Was this the whole part of the Colosseum at one time, and then they just decided to add another tier on? Because look what they did. They went all the way up with stone, and then they stopped. One time that was the top. Then they decided to go up with brick and tie in with an arch into that. Could that have been? I mean, makes sense to me. Now here, we're going to look at those stones. See all those stones up there? How they put that all together? Then we're going to go look at the other side. This is a big building for being 2,000 years old. Here's some of these travertine blocks, and you can see where they put those wedges in to split. Here's a piece of metal that's still actually in there. You can see where they put their plug-in feathers in there to rip these rocks out and make them fit. And here's another good example right there. We showed you how you do that. That was the entrance. We were walking into the Colosseum. And you can see everything Roman from that period was basically built the same. Anything from that time period was basically built the same. After you come in right here with some of the seats. Some of the marble seats are original. That's the only thing, and they probably found them because they took all the good stones. And then we're just going to look around. And they have all their arches. Then we're going to go down here and look. That was what was underneath the Colosseum. And it's all just arches and brickwork. Brick it on one side, brick it on the other, then fill the middle in, that's all. It's pretty big. You look up in there and you see all the arches. And if you remember when I was telling you about the stonework on the very top, let's see if we can get it up there. See how that in the very top? Well, that's from the outside, the veneer from the outside. And then they build a veneer from the inside and they fill it in. But because those stones out there, you see them sticking in? See them sticking in there and sticking out? That's how you tied a building in. And the whole top was like that, but that is all scavenged. This is what they call the floor here. But that's some parts of the original seat. They probably just gathered them. And what was left from this quarry? They used it as a quarry one time. This is the stuff that was left. All the good stuff was taken. And then they just got some pieces like that to put it together to give you an idea of what the seats look like. This in brickwork. That's what you call a jack arch. It's not a round arch, it's a jack arch. There's another one over here. Basically, all the brickwork was the same, real primitive. Just fill it all in till you get a big, big thing, and then even an arch. There's some stone up there, and that's it. Yep, all this old stuff from the Roman is all the same, all this brickwork. Over here, up there. Nice arches though. Brick arches, and then they fill it in and put a jack arch. So this is the Arch of Titus. It's like the entrance to the Roman Forum. And they got so many, it's like you're going through a major security airport line. Just totally ridiculous. I don't know why they do that. Now, about the Arch of Titus. That's all original. This side's been restored with travertine. And you can see it kind of falls apart already. But let's see. Arch of Titus. You can see it better from this side. That's the original of him marching through the city. And then over here, if you could see it, when he raided Jerusalem, that was the menorah and the showbread table, they think, or whatever else they brought back. And that up there, that carving, is him ascending into heaven as a god. So another big monument to a false god.
Marry her yourself?
Now here's another where they saying Roman concrete. But if that's Roman concrete, that whole thing is solid, why do they have a brick arch going around? It looks like they plastered it right into that. And I'm going to be doing a little demonstration on that eventually. I'm walking down this Roman road in the Forum. All this stuff you see, all this has all been salvaged and scavenged. That's what's left of it. These are all the pieces. Then when they got some pieces together, they put a couple pieces up. But this is mostly the junk pieces. They took the good pieces. This is all the junk that's left. Now this is a temple that's kind of left. But here's the big thing which I wanted everybody to see. You see that arch? There's nothing underneath that arch holding steps. Then we walk around in the front, and they rebuilt them with brick. But this is some of the original marble. One time it was all marble steps, but they took it all and then they put the pieces in, and you can see the mortar they used all fell apart anyway. But let's see if we can't get it from this side. This is a better side. We get up in here and we look at that arch. See that arch? There's 3 ways to build them steps. I showed you the modern way where you put the metal in, which is no damn good. Then the second way is you build the piers down and you bridge it, which is good. But this is the best way. If you can build an arch with that, that's lasted what? 1,800 years? Brickwork on top is new, but when it was all marble and those things were up and running, that was done professionally. See, this is all stuff that's salvaged. They took all the good stuff. They left all the junk. Anywhere you go in the Roman Empire at that time, they built exactly the same. So basically that's it. The Roman Forum. Everything you see is what's left over. So that's about the end of that. Julius Caesar should have seen what this place looks like now. Nice marble carvings. Wayne Ferry should see that. Like I said, the Roman Forum has palm trees, and the weather's a lot more milder than Pennsylvania. This would have all fallen apart 1,000 years before. Let's look under the foundation of this arch. Look at how they have different stones as they used for a foundation as they went down. So they layered it. They filled it in with junk. Stones that they didn't use anymore broke up. And whatever they had at the time, that's what they used. So that was my video on the Colosseum. And I was in here in Rome. Right now we're in Crete. But I also, when I was in Rome, I did a video on the Pantheon. We're going to look at the pillars in the Roman concrete. Then I went and I did the Appian Way, when you go down that old Roman road and you look at the way they build the roads, and I did the aqueducts, a little video on that. And then I went over to Pompeii and I did a video on Pompeii and Greece, the Acropolis, and I went to Turkey and did the Ephesus. So what I want to say about this is, when you looked at my videos about the pyramids or Monte Picchu or Chichen Itza or Tulum, that's all primitive. You don't see arches, you don't see the carvings. But when you got into the stone, out of the Stone Age, the Primitive Age, the Bronze Age, you got into the Roman Empire age, 500 BC. That's when the Greeks started using iron tools, and they start doing the fine carvings and the statues and the Colosseums and all that kind of work. And then it lasted till about 500 AD. Then we got into the Renaissance. They started doing fancier stuff. You got into Michelangelo. Now we're into a different age. Everything's fake, you know. We got fake brick, fake stone, fake news, fake everything. So anyway, I hope I can get these videos out in the future. I'm Mike Haduck. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.